This is so awkward because to you guys, my hands look like they're in position, but in reality, my hand is like through the tripod. So I have like the tripod stand hitting my chest, just trying to find a comfortable position where to put my camera, and it's just really uncomfortable. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's me, Jennie here. Welcome to a brand new episode of Getting Some Me Time Through Crafts. So today I want to do a whip and chat with you. So before I get started talking, because I really want to talk, let's talk about this painting. So I will link the last whip and chat right here. I am working on this paint by numbers here for a friend, and it is really coming along. I'm just moving it so you guys can see the whole thing. But today I want to work on this area, the boat and the water. So I am coloring all the number 12s. So before I get started, I want to, oh gosh, see, don't you hate it when that happens? Like I got paint on my nail. Before I get started with, what's going on in my life, I want to say that I officially get friend mail. And what that is if you want to kindly send me a gift or whatever, look in the description bar down below, because now I have a address that you guys can ship things to if you want to be so sweet. If you don't, no pressure at all. However, just make sure if you're going to ship me something, they can send it to a PO box, because that is where my mail is going. Okay, now let's, you know what, I am not comfortable. I actually have to put my arm through the tripod. So now let's talk about what's been going on. Let's talk about how my house, I think every homeowner will attest to this, or will agree to me with this, is that my house is sucking up all my money. Just when Ender and I had like made plans with, what we're gonna do with the house in terms of upgrades or fixes, there's just more stuff that we uncover that we need fixed, and we're like blowing through our budget, the budget that we thought we had, which now we don't have. So you're like, hey Jennie, what are you talking about? So before the spring hit, Ender and I, we sat down and we're like, okay, we have a budget. We want to do certain things to the house. We didn't get to do it last year. We were new homeowners and we just didn't get it. We did like a lot of things late, and anyways, we were better prepared this year. So what happened was he's been complaining about the air quality in this house. He says it's too muggy, and he says that he just thinks that there was mold growing inside the house. And we had a person come in when we first bought the house, because believe it or not, it didn't pass inspection because there was a mold issue. Now, mold happens in quite old homes. We have a 20-year-old home, and there was a water problem in this home before we bought it. So the inspector that we hired before we bought the house said there may be a mold problem, and we hired someone to take care of the mold. However, over the past year, Ender's been complaining about like respiratory problems, and I was like, well, the mold was taken care of, so I don't think it's mold. But he just couldn't sleep at night. He honestly just couldn't sleep at night, and he just thought in his head, even though the mold was taken care of, it really wasn't taken care of, because we weren't around when the contractor at the time took care of the mold. We gave him our key. We were still living in the city, and he was living in the city we were moving to, and he just came in and out of the house and took care of the mold and gave us an update and whatnot. So Ender said that because he has breathing problems, he doesn't think the guy completely took care of the mold. So I said, okay, fine, you know what? Let's call the mold specialist and let's take care of the mold. So we called the mold specialist, and well, Ender was right. There was an area of mold that was growing. So they had to cut out the drywall, and then they had to cut more drywall out because there was more mold. And, you know, Ender's looking at me like, yep, see, Jenny, I told you. And I'm like, oh, fine. You know what? We have a 3-year-old, and I know like black mold isn't good for them to inhale. So sure. So what was originally quoted to us didn't happen because they just kept uncovering more and more mold in my basement. So, which is fine. And we said, just take care of it. We'll deal with everything after. Everything being like putting the drywall back in, because they are strictly a mold removal company. And they take out all the drywall, or at least the drywall that has mold. They take out pretty much anything that has mold. And what they ended up taking out was my basement wall, at least the bottom half of it, and they took out door trim because mold was growing up the door trim. They took out some baseboards because there was mold behind the baseboards. They said that they would try to salvage what they could if there wasn't any mold, but they couldn't. So now my basement is wall-less, if that makes sense. And we're like, okay, well, you know what? It is what it is. Then what happened was when they were leaving, they noticed a leak in the furnace. These guys, and they didn't have to say anything because their job is to take care of mold, but they said that when they were walking around inspecting the house, they noticed a leak in the furnace. So they said to call somebody. Our furnace was our AC or furnace or whatever you want to call it. It was leaking water. So I said, okay, well, we better call these people, like the AC people or the HVAC people. And we called them. It was through a heat wave. And we were advised by the people on the phone before they can come to our appointment was try not to use the furnace because it's leaking water and it can get into all the electrical, and then you'll just have a bigger problem than just a leaking furnace. And I was like, oh my God, it's so hot in here. Anyways, 5 days later, they come out, the heat wave's gone. Ender and I and Kyler are like, we're just putting the fan on. Okay. And we weren't expecting this, but there was a leak of the coolant inside the furnace. So then they quoted us. We weren't expecting this, but they quoted us and they were like, you have to get this fixed. And I'm like, oh my gosh, more money. Like in the meantime, I'm hearing like cha-ching, cha-ching, like just coming out of our bank account, because what we had planned for was, yes, to get the mold done, but we weren't expecting the furnace to be fixed because we thought everything was fine, or the AC. But we wanted to do landscaping. We wanted to put in like interlocking in our backyard. But we had to go into that money, and then we had to fix our AC. Now, here's the thing. Our AC still isn't fixed because it seems like everyone in my city has their AC not fixed as well, and we have to pretty much wait in line before we can be attended. And we don't have an appointment till way later because everyone's just got to get fixed, and there's only so many technicians in the city, and you don't want to bring a technician from out of the city because then, you know, you have to pay for gas and their time, and it just gets really expensive, and that's like money we don't have. Anyways, So then that happens. And also on our list of things to do, we wanted to change our patio door because our patio door broke and it's just really hard to get in and out of my house because it's just broken. You know, you can get in and out of my house, but you have to like really use a lot of force to get inside my house or get out of the house. And you know, we host barbecues here and some of our family members don't have the strength to go in and out of the house. So we wanted to get that replaced. So we put in a deposit for that. Then what happened was one fine, I don't know, evening on a weekday, me, Kyler, and Ender, we were outside. No, we weren't outside, sorry. We were looking outside through the window, and there was this wonderful raccoon on our deck. And it's really funny because I said to Ender the day before, and I said to him, I think we have raccoons living underneath our deck. And he said, no, Jennie, I don't think there is. Well, lo and behold, we saw a raccoon on our deck, and we saw the point of entry where they were going underneath our deck. Well, just this one raccoon. And then it came out of this point of entry and it went to our neighbor's side. So I decided to block the point of entry with a whole bunch of wooden planks. So I blocked it with all these planks, and then the mama raccoon came back, noticed it was blocked, and we were still staring at her through the window, and she gave me this look like, I need to get in. I need to get underneath the deck. Like, you don't get it. I need to get in. So, you know, I thought it was crazy because I'm like, I don't talk raccoon, but she looks like she's in desperate need to get underneath the deck. And Ender told me, don't move the planks, because I did tell Ender, like, I think there's a family underneath our deck. He told me not to move it because then we could be inviting them to come back. So the raccoon ended up going like around the deck, just found another point of entry, came out, and I guess it realized that it wasn't welcome, and came out and like brought all the baby raccoons with it, like basically moving house. So she went one by one behind the deck, like grabbed the baby raccoon by its neck, crawled the fence, and then I don't know what it did, but clearly it found a second home, put baby into its home, and then came back and took the next baby. It did this 4 times and we didn't see the raccoon again. So I thought that was the end of the raccoons. Well, what happened was a week later, and I still kept the planks in the area, like in the point of entry. Well, what happened was I saw the raccoon again one night, and all the babies were back, except this time they were twice the size. And I was like, I thought I got rid of them. And Ender was like, well, clearly you didn't. They just found another way to get in. And I'm like, oh my gosh, fine. So I figured I was just going to leave it at that. I know raccoons, they give birth in like the spring, but they don't really leave their nest until the baby raccoons are big, which is about late summer. So I said, fine, you know what? Keep them there. Keep them underneath the deck. I can't take them out. Just let them leave on their own, and then I'll block the entrance. All the entrances that I can find. But let me tell you, it's really nerve-wracking because I go outside and, you know, in my head I'm thinking, oh my God, is a raccoon going to bite me? Is a raccoon going to bite me? Like, I have no idea, right? And I don't have my rabies shot. And no way in hell will I let Kyler go to the backyard because I just don't know where the raccoon is in that moment, right? Then, because we had this whole raccoon living underneath the deck, clearly Mama Raccoon was bringing them food. Well, the ants ended up finding the food, because then one morning do I look outside and there's all these ants crawling all over my deck and up the bricks on my house. And all I can think was that the mama raccoon fed her children, I guess you can say. I don't know what the correct term is. I believe it's kits. I guess there was like some extra food there, and then the ants saw it, and then the ants told their ants, and the next thing you know, we had like an ant infestation on our deck. So then we had to take care of that. I swear, it just doesn't end. And it's just like expense after expense after expense. And not only that, but we also made plans to do things with family during this summer, and it's going to be costly. So it's just like I said, expense after expense. Now, I'm not complaining. It's just, oh my God, if someone just told me that owning a home sucked all your money, let me tell you, there are times where I would think twice about owning. Okay, I know it's like a big deal to own a home because homes are so expensive, and if you can get your foot in the door, that's a big deal because it's such a great investment. But my gosh, it's like another kid. You just have to expect the unexpected with it. And anything home related just costs so much. So for those of you who are planning to buy a home, I am telling you right now, be prepared that if you have a certain budget to fix your home every year, be prepared, you may blow that budget. And I am going to end the video right here. So please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all down below, or you can catch me on all my social media, which is right here. That's at kiss.jennie. That's spelled kiss.jennie, Jennie with an IE. Or if you want to subscribe to my channel, click on my face right here. Or if you want to catch me on my last video, click right here. I upload videos every Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.